Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Questions of Life. Today's question is brought to us by Uchiha, who asks us to describe our dream house. And today's question will be overlaid with some more Fate Extella gameplay. Great game. Haven't beaten the Nero arc yet. Been quite busy over the week, but hey, I'm sure you don't want to hear any of that. Anyways, let's delve right into the question here. So I have 4 things that I consider to be important in my dream house, and that's location, material, design, and the rooms that I want in the house. So without further ado, let's delve into the first one here. Location. Ideally, I want to build my house in a strange locale, atop a mountain, under the ocean, or above a ravine. Because, let's face it, who would be dumb enough to build a house or live in any of those locations, really? So, I'll be all alone, in my peaceful solitude, enjoying the scenery before me, the beautiful nature, the pristine lake, the white light of the sun reflecting across the shimmering waters, and the fresh snow over the coniferous forest. Yes, I would also like my house to be built in a temperate forest with bears, deers, and all sorts of other woodland beings, especially those creepy spirits that live in the forest, like the Wendigo. And the temperate forest would have a nice balance of summer and winter, so it wouldn't be like anything like Minnesota, where it's almost winter all the time. Anyways, those dangerous places, that kind of place I find to be the most scenic. Usually whenever I play Minecraft, that's where I like to build my house, atop a mountain, in a coniferous forest, in a temperate forest, where it snows 3 months out of the year and is timid and temperate the rest of the time. So, that's the location that I want it to be built in. The material I want it to be built out of is strong material, essentially. So like fiberglass, composite board, steel, fly ash concrete. I looked some of this stuff up, so I'm not too familiar with most of it, but it's all good stuff that'll last long, that doesn't require much maintenance, and none of it was wood, because oh my god, wood is, it was great, you know, back in the day, but now wood is just like, every year you have to like maintain it, and especially if you're in a temperate climate, like the snow just seeps into the cracks and just rots the wood and makes it just terrible. But yeah, that's the material I want it to be built out of. Now, the design. I am a big fan of Dark Souls, and I'm a big fan of Resident Evil. But, you know, I don't want my house to be like literal Dark Souls with traps everywhere, and I don't want my house to be like Resident Evil where it's literally traps everywhere. The one thing that really draws me to the to both of those things is the design of the world. In Dark Souls, everything is kind of interconnected. You have multiple ways of getting to a certain place. You have multiple ways of getting out of a place, for one. And sometimes, you know, there's paths that lead to dead ends, but more or less it's a nice interconnected world. And I want my house to kind of be like that, where there are multiple exits and multiple entrances, so everything in the house links and connects in a unique or cool way. And it would be the best gosh darn place to play hide and seek. And I'd also like some secret entrances or like secret passages or whatever, kind of like the Spencer estate in Resident Evil, because that's one of the things that I really liked about the Resident Evil mansion, where it was like, hey, do this arcane nonsense to get into this room. Like, damn, that looks like fun. I want to go halfway across the house just to get into this room, pull this lever just to get into this one specific room for this one thing that I only do like maybe once every 10 years or whatever. So essentially, I want my house to be designed like a Dark Souls mashed into the Resident Evil mansion. And the innards, this is the last thing here, the innards, what I want in the house would be a library, books, games, whatever really, just things where I can just store stuff that I've collected over the years. So not a storeroom, but more like a display room where I'd have like shelves of books, shelves of games, all of my anime stuff. All of that nonsense. I'd like a game room where I could put up a TV, I could put up the consoles or whatever gaming things I have, pool table, foosball table, I think that's the flippy game, air hockey table maybe, ping pong table, whatever. I'd also like an observatory / a loft for the scenic view, and ideally that would be at the top of the house, out maybe 3rd floor or in the attic, where you can just walk out onto the open area, the loft, to just look out into the forest or out at the lake or down the mountainside or whatever. A master bedroom, of course, you know, where the master of the house sleeps. The foyer to have guests, you know, kind of loiter around, like the entrance to the building. A kitchen, of course, with stoves, countertops, preferably granite countertops, and a stone floor. So it'll be pretty cold in the winter, but at the very least it'll be easier to clean up and it won't mold or melt like a hardwood floor would. Bathrooms, of course, because those are essential. I don't want to go poop in the woods. Please don't. I don't want to accidentally pick up poison ivy and wipe my bumhole with it. A dining room for, you know, guests to sit down and eat. Usually I tend to eat in my room, so the dining room is more for having people over. Living room too, because I'd probably be spending most of my time in the game room with all of my computers and everything, or in my room sleeping or whatever. Garage for cars or motorcycles or bikes or whatever mode of transportation I would have, so that it doesn't have to sit out in the snow. And then, of course, guest rooms, for in case people don't want to make the trek all the way back to town, or there's a blizzard, and like, well, I guess you're stuck here until the next day. So, yeah, that would be my house. Nice and cozy out in the woods. Also, preferably with, like, internet access, like fiberglass, cables running underneath the mountain to get back into town to a router or whatever. Because as much as I'd loved my solitude, I also want my internet. So yeah, that's my dream house. Anyways, thanks for watching, and remember, drive fast, take chances.